You do have some bonds that are outstanding, and then you have a balance in that debt service fund. Sometimes you'll hear us talk about that in the terms of Fund 3. That's just simply the debt service fund. But as of today, the remaining debt capacity that you could go, this is a maximum number. You do not have to go up to that number. It just cannot exceed that number, and that's roughly the $131 million. To provide a framework of what tax levies mean to you as a homeowner and also to the district, that if the debt levy was increased by a dime or 10 cents, what that would mean to the district based upon the current assessed valuation is an increase of about $926,000. That money, again, goes into the debt service fund. It cannot be commingled with any other funds. It can only be used for the repayment of principal and interest on general obligation bonds. In terms of the impact on you, if you were the owner of a $100,000 home, the assessed valuation of your home would be $19,000. And if we took the dime times the $19,000, and since that's expressed on a per $100 basis, the annual increase would be $19 per year. So to kind of recap that, a dime increase on a $100,000 home would increase on an annual basis by $19 a year. And based upon the district's existing debt structure, as well as the assessed valuation of the district, we believe that a dime increase would allow the district to amortize about $14 million of bonds. To kind of broaden that out just a little bit and provide you with a little more information on levy increases, we've shown home values of $50,000, $100,000, $150,000. And again, to get to your assessed valuation for residential real estate, you're always going to take the market value of your home times 19%, and that will give you what your assessed valuation is that will come from the county assessor. We've provided a few more, a broader range of tax increases from 30 cents up to 60 cents, so you can just kind of follow the matrix there on what the annual increase might be depending upon the value of your home as well as the increase that might be needed in the debt service levy. The final thing that we'd like to mention, and the reason this is important, is it has a direct impact on the borrowing cost that the district would incur should the district move forward at some point in the future with the issuance of bonds. Currently, based upon an analysis provided by Standard & Poor's, and the district went through this about 2 years ago, where an outside agency will come in, they analyze the district, they provide a financial management assessment. They also look at audited financials for a 3-year period, and they provide a bond rating, an independent bond rating on that. At the time the district did this 2 years ago, S&P actually increased the bond rating, so that was an upgrade and a very positive upgrade that occurred in November of 2009, and it actually went up by 2 notches from A- to A+. So certainly, I think if the community wishes to move forward with a general obligation bond, the district is very well situated to be able to access the capital markets at very favorable rates. A couple things that S&P provided us some input at the time that they provided that rating. One, they talked about the district's very strong financial position. This also was right after the time when the 63-cent levy was renewed, albeit with the sunset. And then the other thing that they mentioned was the district's very low debt levels. And so for a district your size, with very little debt outstanding, they viewed that as a positive item. The other thing that we can do in Missouri is they have a direct deposit program, and I won't get into the details of that, but basically what happens is the state has a program to where state aid can be intercepted before it comes to the district, and it goes to a trustee to be used to pay debt service on the bonds. And because of that mechanism, then S&P will provide a AA plus bond rating. So that enhances your rating and allows you to borrow at even lower interest rates. So that's just a quick summary and run through of the highlights of capital financing. I think the takeaways from this are there's two options: general obligation bonds and the use of lease purchase financing. But given the various components at play here, many times what we see is general obligation bonds is the preferred method, and really that comes down to that provides the absolute lowest borrowing cost. And so the lower your borrowing cost, the less interest you pay, the more money that's available for the project.
Thank you, Mr. Goffey. All right. Okay, now to our main presentation tonight. This is what many of us have been anxiously awaiting. There certainly has been a lot of effort put into getting things to this point with where we're at in the whole PAC process. So here to present a draft of a facilities master plan for the St. Joseph School District are Dr. Franklin Hill and Mr. Sam Johnson.
Well, it's an absolute pleasure to be back. And this time I can look out in the audience and see many principals I've met, teachers whose classrooms I've been in, and I've toured many, many schools, as you know. But it truly is a pleasure to be back. But sympathetically as well, I see the tragedy you're facing at the airport and the other further north with the floods, and my thoughts are certainly with you. If I may, I'd like to talk about the introduction of the Facility Master Plan, some options in the approach that we've used, and Sam will talk in detail about the options more specifically. Oh, I get to push my own button. Which way do I point it? Toward you? Okay, so to remind ourselves, what's the objective of a master plan? To create educational excellence. I think it's essential we start with that premise. And capital infrastructure, your buildings, balanced throughout the entire K-12 curriculum. Program based on a fiscally solid educational delivery system operating within educational facilities which are appropriate, efficient, and affordable to the district, and around which the school board and community can reach consensus for many years to come. I truly believe that's what you'll be hearing this evening, and trust that you'll feel the same way and be able to move forward and support it. But the fundamental issue is your schools are your future and no one else's. So as I've mentioned, I've been through every school in the school district, as has Sam, as has his team, as has Dan. So we've seen a lot of buildings, but I have to come back to my most favorite visit. Some of you may recall, if you've been here before, when I first arrived, I happened to go to Benton High School, and I picked that one amongst the batch. But I was in the hallway, and I noticed how well kept the hallway floors were, how polished the doors and lockers were, as vintage as they are. And then I saw the pictures on the wall, and I've been in many schools, and I know one thing. Those pictures are bolted to the wall. So I went up and tested it. I went up and just kind of wiggled one to see if it would move. Darned if it did. It moved. That told me more about Missouri children. The fact that you can put 900 students through those hallways every day and hang your pictures as if you were hanging them in your own home. I've used that particular conversation in numerous presentations since I met you back in November. So I felt it important to start with that one today. But going on, your programs offer some outstanding education starting at the youngest of children, and your preschool programs. Your elementary and middle school sciences are exceptional. These pictures show some of the artwork, but also some of the science labs. And many of the labs are very good facilities. They're well-sized, properly dimensioned. So those kinds of rooms we should keep and not change. You have some great technology in use, kids using their cell phones